What's happening, everyone? It's James at Arcade Attack once again. Yes, it's me again, the pretty face, or not so pretty face. And I've got another special. I've got another special episode of Dylan's Desert Island Diskettes that he dreamt up, that we did an episode of and argued a lot on and went off on various tangents and did kind of middle-aged retro gamer bloke things. But it's all good. I've got another special guest in the studio who is, I would say, at the very least, as excited about kind of gaming and retro gaming as we are, and collectibles and all that amazing stuff that she's got behind her. She goes by the tag of, when I think this is brilliant, Lydgendary. Oh, I wished I don't think anyone else has come up with that, but it's a great tag. Real name Lydia. And
That's the one.
yeah, and she's all over the various channels. But today we're going to do a Desert Island Diskettes with Lydia. So how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm not so bad. I'm quite excited actually because we had a previous episode with a lady called Kim, who is a survival horror streamer. And love her stuff on YouTube, and she really sort of threw the cat amongst the pigeons with her selections of the games that she had. I mean, took me by because she didn't tell me what they were, so that was interesting. And they're all games we kind of love. But if anyone wants to sort of go and check that out, that is live right now, so you can go and see that one. But I'm about to get put through the mill again. But before we do that, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Lydia. What kind of things you into? What sort of platforms you on? What sort of gets you ticking?
Yeah, so a bit of everything really. Just in general, I love gaming, which I feel is no surprise to anyone. But I kind of really got into the retro side of gaming. So I started off with PlayStation 2, like you do. And then I started getting really into kind of Sega, so your Mega Drive and your Dreamcast. I absolutely fell in love with the Dreamcast, and that kind of sparked my love of retro gaming, really. And yeah, now we have pretty much everything. So I've got my CRT TV set up, and then I've got pretty much all of Nintendo, PlayStation, Sega, up until all the modern consoles as well. So yeah, I'm into a bit of everything. Started playing a bit of more PC recently, so digging into Steam. So yeah, really big variety of games that I enjoy playing.
I will say that you are going to be particularly popular among the guys and a number of our followers because you've said you love Sega. And Keith's going to absolutely love this one as well, even more so because he's a massive fan of the Dreamcast. So,
It's got both.
I know I never had one. And I kind of I played it around a mate's house, and I mean, without going too far off at a tangent, I mean, it was and still is like so playable. And like some of the titles on it are just fantastic as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of the few that really hold up well today. You look back at the graphics and how it plays, and especially if you're playing it on a CRT TV, some of the games feel just as modern as some indie games, and that's kind of why it's so classic to me.
I mean, I never sort of had one. I mean, dare say if I tried to buy one these days, I'd probably have to remortgage the house. But there we are. But yeah, I mean, things like what was the one that we did a pod on that Adrian sort of was waxing lyrical about was the Shenmue series.
Yeah, classic.
Oh my god, like the detail in that
Incredible.
was yeah, I mean, I learned a whole lot there because yeah, I mean, Master System, Mega Drive, absolutely, 100%. Got games, had a Master System, loved it. Brother had a Mega Drive, but then after that, I sort of ended up switching over to the PlayStation and ended up going all the way through that series, and then ended up getting to Xbox. So I kind of miss miss things like GameCube and you know, Saturn and Dreamcast, stuff like that. But hey, there's always time to learn, isn't there?
We're resurfacing all those classics that were hidden.
Oh, just there's it's so good though, isn't it? And that's part of the just that's part of what we love doing, isn't it? Because you go sort of looking at retro cafes and shops and even online and stuff like that, and you think, you know, what's this game then? You end up going down a rabbit hole, don't you?
Mhm.
Um, but anyway, we shan't go down a rabbit hole because we're here for a specific reason. And for those of you that don't know, I will refresh the rules of Desert Island Diskettes. Now, any of you who've listened to the Desert Island Discs on BBC Radio over the last goodness knows how long they've been doing it, 60 odd years or something, 50 or 60 odd years, will know that you have to pick a select amount of music to take to a desert island with you. Now, in our case, it's going to be 5 games. And again, for those that don't know the rules, 5 only, no internet connection, no Wi-Fi, and you've got no mates or friends. There's no like immediate multiplayer kind of available. So it is just games that you basically A, won't get fed up of playing, and B, I would say probably have a pretty good replayability value as well. But also that are kind of special to you as well. I picked a couple of left field ones. I can't even remember what it was. Roller Coaster Tycoon and Game Ground, I think it was. Yeah, and like everyone was like, Game Ground, what? I was like, yeah, I love it, and what? So yeah, I mean, you should have hopefully picked 5. I had maybe a little sneak peek as to 1 or 2, but I don't know the rest. So this is going to be interesting. So what are we starting with?
I have a whole pile here that I can
Yeah.
show off. I think since I started with Sega, I'll start with Sega. So I think let's go for the best one out of all of them, which is Streets of Rage 2. I think this one has such replayability. I think just because it's one of the most iconic titles on the Mega Drive slash Genesis, where it's the soundtrack, the visuals, the fighting mechanic. Obviously, you've got that classic arcade beat 'em up style gameplay. So I think just from that alone, you could spend hours and hours trying to beat your high score. If you have someone with you, there's obviously the co-op option. I still yet to get to the final boss of Streets of Rage 2, so I feel like that's a really good one to have on a desert island because I can finally just sit there all day long because I'll be bored and just try and bash it out and get through as much Streets of Rage as possible. And yeah, it's just a game that every time I go back to again and again, I feel so much joy playing it. It brings me a lot of joy. Um, yeah, it's just everything about it. It's just iconic, isn't it?
It's one of those games that will never, I don't think, not be in the kind of top flight of people's. I mean, especially if you're a Sega fan as well. It's what did Dill say a while back? We did a fighting games thing on this, I think, and we've also done Street Racing. But it was something like, where can you get kind of a classic beat 'em up, superb colours, great bosses, and banging dance music all in the same place?
Right.
And I mean, it is exactly that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, no, I mean, the first one is fantastic. The second one is, yeah, it is even better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an absolute classic. And what do you? So I mean, I saw a little video. I didn't actually watch the whole video
Mhm.
that you did, but you did a comparison with 4, did you not?
Yes, I did.
What was your take on that? Just briefly.
Yeah, so I kind of, I hadn't played 4 up until recently, so I really wanted to so I replayed 2 and then played 4 straight afterwards, and actually I thought it held up really well. I think it's some people probably will hate it, but I quite liked that they modernized it, so they made it completely, like, hand-drawn style, so it's not pixelated. I think that actually works quite well because it doesn't take away from the original ones. It doesn't feel
Mm.
like it's just a nostalgia cash grab. I don't think the music is as iconic as the original ones, but I don't know if anything is. I don't think any other game really compares to the soundtrack of Streets of Rage 2 anyway. Um,
Yeah.
it's a lot harder as well. I was quite surprised. I had to play it on easy mode to get to the final boss, because the hard mode, like, I could barely get past the first couple of stages. So, I'll go back
Yeah.
and replay it so I can try and play it on more difficult modes, but, it's a lot harder than the original games, which is quite a feat because a lot of Mega Drive games are really hard. But yeah, it's definitely worth a play if you're a fan of the series. I think it sort of honors the original games and keeps sort of the soul of the Streets of Rage while also making it a modern game as well. So definitely worth a play if you enjoy them.
I'd say that's a great take. I mean, I'm probably out of all of us the biggest fan of 4. I think that I mean, I've played it to absolute death.
Mhm.
I mean, I've literally, yeah, gosh, the amount of time I spent on that. But it gives me a lot of it. What it does is it like you, it gives me a lot of hark back to the originals.
Mm.
and I just sort of sit there and I think it sits really nicely in the whole universe of games. And then I think right back to the one you've just selected, which is number 2, and you think, without those, you wouldn't kind of had sort of the newer versions and stuff like that. So, yeah, that is I mean, it's a great series, but 2 is a fantastic pick. So that's a hell of a strong start.
Well,
I
hopefully
mean,
I can
wow, we're going in Streets of Rage 2 with, let's be honest, all guns blazing. There's not much that game doesn't deliver.
or
Um,
this thing, but yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, where do we go? Do we go another beat 'em up, or do we go somewhere completely different after that?
So I've picked up another recent game that I've played, which is Restar, which is a platformer, but another Mega Drive, an absolute classic. Um, Absolutely adore Restart. It's such a beautiful platformer. It kind of took me a bit by surprise because it's one of those slightly hidden gems. It
Mm,
didn't do massively well, I don't think, and it was supposed to have sequels, and I think Sega completely gave up on it. I don't know why, but it plays so wonderfully. It's such a good example of what makes a good platformer. He's got the cutest little animations, and he's just like a joy to watch on your screen. All of the levels are really beautifully done. They're all very vibrant. They're all completely different. Just a really good case study of good game design, I think. And yeah, it's just a real joy to play. And it's got a bit of a weird story because you play as a star who's trying to save the world.
yes.
Um, and yeah, it kind of lends itself to some really wacky game designs. I think that's what I like about sort of the 90s era of gaming. You get so many cool, fresh ideas. And I think that's something you don't always get with modern games because it's all about
Mm.
making money. Whereas back in the 90s, it was kind of this big boom of just do whatever you want and see what sticks. And I think that's one of the ones that really sticks with me. And every time I pick it up, I just feel absolute joy when I play it.
It is a lovely little game, isn't it? It
It really
really, I mean, I don't mean that sort of patronisingly, 'cause, I know there are some absolutely huge fans of it, and it's been a long while since I've played it, but, I used to play it quite a lot, and I was always surprised at how many kind of different things you could do in it, 'cause he's got, like, stretchy arms, isn't he? So he can, like, grab enemies and do headbutts and stuff like that,
yeah.
and you sort of when you start playing it, you don't kind of expect the character to be able to do that sort of thing, do you? Um,
Yeah, it's
so it's a bit weird.
deceptively simple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's but, like, loads of fun as well. I mean, as far as it kind of, like, not maybe making the impact that it could have done, I mean, the '90s were absolutely cramo with Sega classics. And I mean, we talk about this all the time in that, you have a game and someone loves a game, they bring it up, they talk about it, and we're always then sort of surprised initially by why it didn't do better. But then, of course, it's in kind of a sea of sort of other classic titles. So I mean, yeah, like you say, the '90s was just chock a block. With platformers as well.
Yeah,
Lots
and I
of
felt
platformers
that
around.
that's probably why they didn't do anything with it because they wanted to put loads of money into Sonic. I mean, it was from the Sonic team, right? I think was it from the Sonic team? I'm sure it was.
I think
Um,
so.
Kind of makes sense why they didn't make another one, but I do think it's a real shame. I don't know how it would if they were to make a new game, if it would actually hold up as well. Um, but I wouldn't be opposed to them trying it.
Let's have a look. It was indeed Sonic Team. Yeah. So I mean I was just confirming that to make sure the knowledge is correct. But yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense then because Sonic was obviously stratospheric by this point.
Yeah.
Um, there wasn't many people that had a Sega console that didn't have Sonic. So yeah, well, oh, we love our little Rystar, don't we? Or Restar, whatever his name is. But yeah, classic little game. Very different to obviously the sort of Streets of Rage get up.
Yeah.
But great fun and another great choice. So fantastic. And let's have a look. It's got, I mean, even now it's funny, people going back to it. I was just reading a couple of comments, people going back to it, playing it now, raving about it. So still as popular as ever by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully more people discover it.
yeah, I hope so, because that would be, the more you talk about these things, the more they sort of appear in search engines and stuff, and it'd be nice to sort of get him the credit he deserves. But yeah, I haven't played it for a while, but must go back to that one. Must go back to that one.
There's your sign
So
to go back.
yes. So, okie doke then. Oh, two strong titles and two very different titles as well. So where are we going next?
I'm gonna completely pivot again. So now onto the PlayStation 2, and I picked up Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Ho, ho.
I think, that's a popular one by the,
Oh, blimey.
yeah,
Okay,
completely
why do
different.
you like it?
Yes, I love this game. So, actually, I haven't played it for a little while, but I played the heck out of it when I was sort of in my teens, and I actually didn't play it on the PlayStation 2, I played it on a really slow laptop. I don't know how it ran this game, but it did. But I did have it on the PlayStation 2 now, and it's still just as good. And I think just because it's vibes, isn't it? It's you can go around in your car, and a lot of the time I didn't even do the racing. I just wanted to drive around the city. And I just remember it being so atmospheric. The music, of course, classics. It's got some real bangers on there from the sort of the noughties. And yeah, some really, really good music on there. And all the car modifications was so fun. Yeah, I spent so long just doing all the different upgrades that you could do. And yeah, I just loved all the racing mechanics. And I could just spend forever playing it. I think it's one of those games that even if you complete it, you could easily just
Mm.
sit on there, sort of forget about the whole world and just drive around, and that's it. You don't really need to do anything. I think that's one of the real beauties of this game, and there's maybe not enough of that kind of game now.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, I mean, I think I had this on. I've got to remember now. I think I had it on the PS2, but also had it slightly later on the 360. I think it was,
Mhm.
um, and obviously they were, you know, two very different platforms. But I think it was Underground 2 before that. And I immediately went to Most Wanted because obviously I think that was the next one in the series. Um, but if I remember correctly, wasn't it a case of you had obviously all the different races, but you had what I think you had, was it 10 different was it ten different almost like boss races? Um
Yeah. Yeah, because you had to climb the ranks of the I can't remember what they call it. It was notoriety or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Beat all the different street races until you beat the very last one at the end of it. I'm trying to remember. I think that's quite a lot. It's actually quite a long game. So I think that's another thing. It's got a lot of story to or a campaign to it if you wanna do something a bit more structured as well.
Yeah, I think yeah, and there's quite a lot of different races you can do as well because obviously there's a reasonable sized map as well.
Yeah,
And I think for squeezing it onto the PS2 was a bit of a feat really, wasn't it?
yeah.
I mean, I remember playing it on both. I probably remember the 360 more, just probably because I spent more time on it. But to get that map and all the cars and everything onto PS2, that's a hell of a feat. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I remember doing a lot of online stuff on that as well on the 360, and people just get absolutely mad. Like the savagery online was just like off the chart. Like I was like, it's a computer racing game. Like lads, let's just chill out, please. It's mostly blokes getting hot under the collar, you know. There were some girl gamers on there, but they were nowhere near as ragey. Um, as standard, I
When
suppose.
they all turn their microphones off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, that's I remember a lot, and there was you could literally like spend ages just like doing little mods of nitrous
Yeah.
and um like coloured nitrous, wasn't it? And
Mhm.
lights under your cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
You could have,
that's
like,
never easy.
the chrome effects on your car and everything, and it's yeah, I had so
It was
much fun with it, and it
it
looks
so
it looks
fun.
really good.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think they did because Underground 2 was I think a feat in itself because that was definitely a PS2 game. And then to go one better on Most Wanted. And was it that one where the police chases were insanely hard as well once you like
I think
hack them off enough?
I'm trying to remember which ones because I know there's obviously is it Hot Pursuit where you can be the police car as well. I think
Is it Hot Pursuit or there's Rivals, I think, or there's something.
yeah,
There's one where you can
a
be
lot
the
of
police.
crossing.
Exactly, but yeah, I've something sticks in my mind that tells me I raged a lot about the police chases on Most Wanted because mainly because I probably couldn't get away from them.
Yeah,
But
some
That's a good game though. That's another one. Do you know what? I'm writing all these down here because I'm just gonna end up going and being like, "Right, I need to play some Rystar, I need to play some Most Wanted." No, but that's 3 very different choices, so excellent.
Yeah. I think a lot of them you can just keep going back and playing. I think that's why I've chosen them as my options.
No, there are I'd say 3. I mean, even one of them, there's plenty of playability, but 3 so far, you've got there's plenty of time, plenty of legs in there, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Especially if you haven't beaten any sort of last bosses and stuff. I mean, that's well worth a crack. So, excellent. Oh my god, I'm kind of thinking how on earth we top those 3. But are we kind of treading on a path, or are we going off the side again?
I think we're going off the side again, but maybe
Excellent.
not so much for me. I've picked up Yakuza.
Ah,
So
okay.
I picked up so I am a massive fan of Yakuza, all Like a Dragon games. I've played every single one of them. I buy them on release as soon as they come out, so I'm a massive fan. I never actually completed the original Yakuza, so if I was gonna be stuck on a desert island, I think that's the perfect time to go back and play the original one because I picked it up, fell in love with the PlayStation 2 version, and then immediately realized there was a remake, so I went on to that straight away, and then I got completely hooked in the series, but I would love the opportunity to go back and play the original one and have loads of time to just soak up all the atmosphere of Tokyo, and yeah, and also fun fact, Mark Hamilton does some voice acting in this game.
He
Um,
gets everywhere, doesn't he?
yeah, apparently he doesn't remember doing it.
Huh?
He doesn't remember doing it, but he is credited with it, but he is in it. I can't remember what character he plays, because you can't do, it's dubbed only, there's no Japanese
Sure.
voice option, um, so some of the dubbing is not so great, but that's one of my, fun facts about it, but yeah, I just absolutely love Yakuza, and obviously the games have evolved a huge amount, and now they're massive games with loads of mini games, side missions, etc. They've got progressively more and more bunkers. If you know Yakuza, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I think just going back to the original and seeing where something has all begun is really nice to do because you can see where the game series started and how it's evolved, what's changed. Do you like all the changes and sort of see what they were going for originally because they marketed it in the West as kind of a bit of a GTA, but it's not
Mhm.
at all. So I feel like
No.
they completely mismarketed it, and yeah, they probably set themselves up for failure with that. But yeah, I just absolutely love these games. They're the best.
It's quite a I mean, well, I say quite, it's a very strong series.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a couple of the guys on the pod that rave about the Yakuza stuff, really into it. And also, I mean, I again, this is another one that I played quite a long time ago. I think it was probably '06, '07, somewhere in that neck of the woods. Um, And, I mean, again, I only remember good things about it, and again, it's another one I should probably go back to and kind of, get back into, because chances are I'll probably play that and then go, "Oh, what else have they got?" And then sort of follow the series like you've done. Um,
I
yeah,
mean,
which is great.
yeah, I mean, I would really recommend, the Judgment games because
Mhm.
there's only 2 of them, and they play like the Yakuza Kiwami games, which are the remakes of the, 1, 2, and now 3.
Mm.
Um, but if you're really, what's the word? If you're really overwhelmed by the amount of games that there are, which I feel like a lot of people are, and you do have to play all of the Yakuza games really in order. The Judgment ones are very good to go by because you get all the things that you love about the series, but there's only 2 of them. So but those are always my sort of go-to recommendations, and I don't think they're loved enough.
That's a fair shout. That's a fair shout. I mean, one could argue again another sort of crowded market, but I suppose if it's got a solid story and good soundtrack and it hooks you in and you've got enough gameplay, then yes, that is a very strong choice. I mean, I'm just trying to think of sort of similar games. There's one. I'm trying to think of when it was released. I think it was after that. There's one that I got into, which was Sleeping Dogs.
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
Sleeping
good.
Dogs. So I think, I mean, a little bit of an offshoot, a slightly different game, but that kind of ilk. And again, going back, we were saying about Shenmue as well. That kind of sort of the things, the mini games and the vending machines and the and all all that sort of attention to detail is you got to wonder when they sort of sit down and they pencil this stuff and they say, right, we're going to do this, and they come up with this massive list of all these extras they want to put in it. And I mean, if you're like one of the developers or graphic designers, you're probably sitting there going, "Oh my god, I'm not going to, I'm not going to get to bed this week, am I?"
I
But
mean, it's probably broke them. It's
well,
probably why the Dreamcast failed in the end.
well, exactly. I mean, yeah, which is a real shame. But it seems to have gained an awful lot of love back. Just on your point about Mark Hamill, yeah, you're absolutely bang on. He did the voice for Goro Majima
Ah, yeah,
in
the Mad Dog.
2006, the Mad Dog of Shimano. But
Uh,
it's weird that you can't remember doing it. I
it's
mean, surely you
yeah,
remember something like that. But
I feel like it was a bit again, a bit of a weird era of they just got anyone to do voice acting, and they probably just sat in a booth for 6 hours, did all the voice recording, and that was it. They never heard about it ever again.
yeah, do you know what? Actually, to be fair, it probably was quite nondescript, wasn't it? It's probably just sort of sat in a, how many, how much voice acting has Mark Hamill done over the years? It probably just blends into one, doesn't it? Oh,
Yeah, and
blimey.
to be fair, Goro's a very unhinged character, so but I don't think he shows up as much in the original games. They've kind of made a bigger thing of his character as he's gone along, so maybe it makes sense that he doesn't remember it because he wasn't really in it that much in comparison.
We'll let him off then, shall we? We'll let
We'll
him off.
we'll let him off. We'll let him off.
He's had a day in the studio and he doesn't know what he was recording for. He's been given a script. We'll let him off. Excellent, excellent, excellent. My goodness me. Okay, so we are, I believe. Let's do a quick recap. So from 5 to 2, what did we have?
So we had Streets of Rage 2,
Switch
we
Rage
had,
2.
Restar, Need for Speed Most Wanted, and Yakuza.
It's Do you know what I love about that lineup so far? And I'm sure you're going to probably toss another curveball in there. Um, but what I love about that is like 4 totally different games.
Yeah.
Like one very very story driven, one sort of classic beat 'em up with the banging dance music, of course. And then you got cute platformer, and then hardcore racing game. So your your taste is, shall we say, eclectic.
It's very eclectic.
Which is excellent. We love all that. So, where do we go for our last stop then?
Another complete curveball, and we're going for a JRPG, which is Skies of
Ooh.
Arcadia.
Ah, now this is the one I had the inside track on earlier. You
Yeah.
mentioned this to me, and I was like, I heard so much about it in the past. I have
Yeah.
never played it, but it does. It sits alongside a lot of JRPGs that I have played a lot.
Mm.
But what makes this one kind of like special for you?
So I think for me, a good test of what makes a good RPG is I'm not a fan of RPGs necessarily. So if I can get invested in RPG, I think that means it must be pretty good. Um, and I think for me, Skies of Arcadia hits pretty much every point of what makes a good game. For a start, it's a very long game. I think it's about 30, 40 hours if you do just the story.
Just
So
the
again,
story.
really yeah, so there's extras you can do as well. Um, and of course, if you want to grind and level up and get all the extra collectibles, I think there's quite a few different side missions that you can do as well. So I didn't do all of the side missions because by that point I kind of just wanted to get through the story and experience all of that. Um, so if I had all the time in the world, I would love to go back and do everything that the game has to offer. It's got really good gameplay mechanics. So it's got 2 different battle systems. So you have your kind of typical turn-based combat, but then you also have some ship battling mechanics. So
Alright.
when you're on your ship, which floats in the sky between different lands, you kind of have to fight various ships that come across, and you have a battling mechanic with that, which is kind of very turn-based esque, but it's a bit different. So I really like the variety that it has with that. The characters are all really fun. It's sometimes a little bit dated, but again, there's a bit of a charm to that as well. It's very vibrant. All of the worlds are very fun. I just think I mean, it's quite a big world as well. You have quite a big map that you can kind of explore. As you go along, you get upgrades, so there's you can kind of go under not underwater, but kind of under the clouds, so it adds another layer of exploration to it, and you can kind of go to different areas, and yeah, it's a really good story, very traditional RPG-esque. World is ending, you have a ragtag bunch of, group members that you get.
Where have we seen that one before?
Exactly, and you know, the typical thing of, "Oh, this is the baddie, but is it really the baddie? Probably not." And, yeah, it's just a really solid game. It's really, really great combat, great story, and, yeah, just really memorable. Like, the whole time I was playing it, I was really enjoying it. I think it still holds up really well. It's not to say it's not dated at all. It has a little bit, but I think for the most part, it's still got really good gameplay mechanics that hold up really well, and it still looks pretty good. So, yeah, a very good one to have. Mhm.
Skies of Arcadia. I mean, it so like you said at the start there, it's probably a testament to how well sort of written and presented it is that someone who doesn't typically go for a JRPG
Mhm.
has then played it and loved it.
Absolutely.
And I think that is the ticket right there, isn't it? Because there's a lot of like genres we probably sit there and go, "Oh, I'm not really into that. I don't really like it." But if a game can kind of like be within that genre and still, grab you,
Mhm.
um, I think that's pretty good going. I mean, I'm just trying to think. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII is like big among us because I've spent far too long farming chocobos and stuff on that. Um, and then things like Chrono Trigger, love a bit of Chrono Trigger on the SNES. I think we did a pod recently actually on a couple. Final Fantasy VI, that was the other one that we did, and then a few others. And yeah, so I've played a few, but yeah, I again, it's probably the whole Dreamcast thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
there is a GameCube version, but again, if you didn't have the GameCube, and to be honest, now they're really expensive games.
I bet.
Um, the GameCube one is even more expensive. So apparently, it's supposed to be a better game because it's kind of a I don't know if remaster's the right word for it, but it had some extra content on it, and it kind
Mhm.
of had some slight, quality of life upgrades. So, like, the only minus of the game for me was the, rate of enemies. I can't think of the word. Um, but the amount of enemies
Yeah.
that came up every now and then, like, sometimes it would be constant, which is kind of one of my bugbears with RPGs. It's just
Yes.
you're in constant battles all the time, and it's like you get out of one and immediately get into another one, and you're grinding a lot. Um, so that's the only bugbear I have with the game. But other than that, it's a really, really solid game, and I think it's kind of the same thing for all of the games that I've picked up. They're all very good examples of their genre, I think. So even if you don't love the genre, I think there's something that any person who enjoys games can take out of those games.
You've done this before, I think. You've done this before. But, I mean, the just saying about the sort of, and again, I can't think of the blooming word either, but the amount of the sort of frequency at which you have battles in the JRPG games, that's that's one of the things that Keith was picking up and kept saying he gets really annoyed with because he's so
Yeah.
fed up of, like, walking 2 steps, "Oh, there's another battle, walking 2 steps." And I think that was one of the differences with Chrono Trigger because with Chrono Trigger, they designed it so you had to actually walk up to the enemy,
Mhm.
on the actual screen, so it was a slightly different thing. But yeah, the classic sort of, whooshy screen, shall we say, going into the battle screen is a sort of a mainstay for most of those, RPG games, isn't it?
Especially
Um,
when the whole pathway is clear as well, and you're just like, "Oh, I thought I was safe." And now
well,
I'm in a battle all of a sudden,
there's
and
a
I'm dead.
there's a yeah, it's oh god, it's a bummer, isn't it, when that happens because you think
It
you've
really
done it. But, no, so we have 5, ladies and gentlemen. We have 5, and I'll tell you what, very, very different games, all for very different reasons. Some story driven, some not so story driven, some colourful, some kind of, on different platforms as well. We're not biased towards Sega at all. Um,
I am a little
yeah, of course, absolutely, and you're
bit.
allowed you're absolutely allowed to be as well. But I mean, it's 5 great choices to be fair. I have played all but one,
Okay.
And but I must get a look in on that because if it's as good
Please.
as you say it is, yes, then I think we'll need to give that a go for sure. And just to answer your query there, yeah, Skies of Arcadia on the GameCube, anywhere from sort of 20 to 80 pounds. And then I think the Dreamcast version, well, that's wildly all over the place. I mean, that's again 30 to like 120 quid. So,
Cool.
oh yeah, but game
Yeah.
prices. I mean, what's the situation with that these days? Honestly, um,
I'll press
so
get it cheaper than 80 cheaper.
oh, do you know what I mean? I mean, the thing is, it's yeah, we have a whinge about this about game prices and things, and it does make kind of collecting and stuff. It makes it quite difficult, and I imagine this is probably an issue you've run into. Whereas when I watched what was it, the video that I saw, was it a little while ago, where you did a comparison between what your gaming room was and what it is,
Yeah.
and you had like I think three little shelves, didn't you? Well, they're quite big shelves, and you had sort of some stuff on there, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, this is serious. Um, but yeah, I mean, has it become more difficult? Yeah.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Has it become more difficult, would you say, for if you wanted to sort of collect for a console or anything like that?
I think it depends what console you're after, really. I think it's the consoles themselves have got more expensive. I don't think the games have jumped up too much in price recently. I think they've kind of leveled out a bit, but I think it's the consoles now that are becoming more expensive because obviously they're breaking, people aren't replacing them
Yeah.
as much. Um, I've seen, I remember I used to work in a game shop and this lovely slim PlayStation 2 came in. It was pink and I almost bought it. It was 20 quid and it
Oh,
was absolutely beautiful. And I looked at it, I was like,
deal.
oh, I should buy that. I was like, oh, 20 quid. No, it's fine. I didn't. Now it's going for like £110 and I regret not buying it every single day. And that was about 7 years ago. So, yeah, consoles have gone through the roof.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, my brother found, cut a long story short, my old Master System 2 power base up in my parents' loft that I thought I had either sold or got rid of about 30 years ago. And you can imagine, can't you? Like he sent me a photo of it and he's like, "Look what I found." I was like, "No, it can't be. It can't be." But yeah, I mean, that's, it's like all of our favorite bits and pieces, isn't it? It always brings back loads of memories. And now I'm starting to buy Master System games again, which is really bad. Because there's other
Worth
things to
it,
spend money on.
yeah,
Oh,
it's the love of gaming.
it is absolutely. So, Lydia, thank you very, very much for your 5 choices. Now,
Absolutely.
if the guys and girls out there obviously want to, I mean, we'll do a collab on this, and we'll obviously get you sort of tagged up on the social and everything. We'll have a great time, and we'll sort of get everybody to share their views on your 5 games. But if they want to go and find out a little bit more about you, where do they go and find you?
So I'm pretty much legendary on everything. So I have a YouTube channel which I'm posting roughly about fortnightly on, which is
Mhm.
just all about retro games and retro game comparisons. Also on Instagram, TikTok, and kind of Facebook and Threads. So yeah, just legendary on all of those platforms.
Excellent, amazing stuff. So, I mean, I know you mostly from Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, those are my
Um,
platforms.
always see your face pop up when I go into the Head Attack account and do an update. I was like, "Oh, what's she done this time?" And I think currently you're completing. I think you're up to about 18 games completed this year,
Yeah,
aren't you?
yeah.
How?
I discovered Steam recently, so I'm just playing through so many indie games, and they've been amazing, to be fair. I've been, like, getting so much on sales for, like, £1.50,
Oh,
so
wow.
a bit addicted to it. So, yeah, that's how I've been completing that many games.
Have you played, I mean, I'm going off another tangent here. Have you played, before we finish, have you played Dredge?
No, I haven't. I think it's on my shelf. I haven't
Yes.
played it yet, but
That
it's
is very
right.
cool. I keep banging on to it about people, and every time I've mentioned it to someone, they go, "No, but I've seen it. It looks amazing," and so on and so forth. So I'd be really interested to hear your feedback on that because it's it's not really like any sort of other game I've played, but I think it probably, by the looks of other stuff that you've played, especially the indie type stuff,
Yeah.
might be right up your street. So we'll have to catch up on that one.
We'll do a deal. If you play Yakuza, I'll play Dredge. I'll hold
That
you to
that is a deal, and you will then see it plastered all over the socials, and we'll do a little video each, and we'll have to collab and see how each other's getting on, and do
yeah,
like Dredge and Yakuza updates.
can't wait for the full review.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. We're going to do that. That's set in stone. Marvelous. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
no worries. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege. And guys, don't forget to go and follow Lydia, aka Lydgendary, on TikTok, Insta, YouTube, etc. And see all of her latest updates. And obviously, you can, if you wish to hear more of our content as well, you can also go to arcadeattack.co.uk/podcasts. And if you really like what you see and you'd like extra content past that, off the mic, and so on and so forth, and all the other stuff that we do, you can go to patreon.com/arcadeattack. And that's us. So thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we'll
Great.
we will I'll hold you, well, you're gonna hold me to that challenge probably.
I will.
Uh,
I think I'll complete Dredge before you complete Yakuza, I think.
uh, you're probably right on that one, yeah. Right, well, I'll let you know how I'm getting on. So, thank you so much, and guys out there and girls, thanks so much for watching. Till the next time, take care of yourselves.